Hello everyone. Welcome back to CBSE English Boost by Suchandra Dey. Today we are going to learn one of the most interesting and humorous chapter from class 11 English, Ranga's Marriage by Masti Venkatesha Iyengar. But before we begin, here's a quick question for you. Do you think education changes a person's mindset completely? Comment below yes or no. Let's begin. This chapter is not just about marriage. It is actually a humorous social satire. Here, the author talks about marriage customs, tradition versus modern thinking, and how education influences society. Now, let me ask you a question. Can a person be modern in education but traditional in thinking? Think about it. Let us first know about the author. Masti Venkatesha Iyengar was a famous Kannada writer, popularly known as Masti. The important facts about him is he was born in 1891, awarded the prestigious Gyanpith Award in 1983, known for simple language and realistic storytelling. His writings often focuses on rural life, human emotions, social reform. Again, let me ask you a question. Why do you think writers use simple language to discuss deep social issues? Comment below. To understand the chapter better, we need the background. The story is set in Hosuhali village in Karnataka. At that time, child marriage was common. Widow remarriage was discouraged. English education was considered a sign of modernity. So the chapter mainly discusses education versus tradition, marriage customs, social change. Do traditions always need to be followed? Why? If yes, why? If no, why not? Now, let's study the summary briefly. Ranga returns to his village after studying in Bangalore. Since educated boys were rare, villagers gathered to see him as if he is a celebrity. Initially, Ranga says he doesn't want early marriage. He wants to choose his own partner. But then comes a twist. The narrator arranges a meeting between Ranga and Ratna. And guess what happens next? Yes, Ranga falls in love. Classic case of never say never. In this part of the story, Ranga returns to his village after completing his education in the city. The villagers are curious and excited because during that time very few people went outside the village for higher studies. Everyone admires Ranga because he appears educated, modern, and refined. However, despite receiving a Western education, Ranga does not completely reject Indian traditions or culture. Instead, he develops a mature and balanced outlook towards life. Ranga believes that marriage should not happen simply because of age or social pressure. According to him, a successful marriage requires maturity, understanding, and compatibility between partners. This makes Ranga different from many young men in the village who usually followed traditional customs without questioning them. His ideas reveal his progress, mindset, and thoughtful personality. The question for you: how is Ranga different from other young men of his village? Now, the story introduces Ratna as important character. Ratna is portrayed as beautiful, intelligent, and talented, especially in singing. Her graceful personality immediately creates interest in the story. But there is an important social issue connected to her character. Ratna is a young widow. At that time, society strongly discouraged widow remarriage. Widows often faced social restrictions and were denied the chance to begin a new life. By including Ratna's character, the author indirectly highlights the conservative mindset of society. The narrator, who is fond of Ratna, cleverly arranges a meeting between Ratna and Ranga by inviting Ratna to sing at Ranga's house. This is the narrator's way of bringing the two together naturally. Why do you think the narrator invited Ratna here? When Ranga meets Ratna, he is instantly attracted to her beauty, simplicity, and talent. However, he is too shy and hesitant to openly express his feelings. Seeing this, the narrator decides to help him in a clever way. He uses an astrologer trick to emotionally influence Ranga into believing that Ratna is the ideal partner for him. This moment adds humor and cleverness to the story because the narrator manipulates the situation playfully but with good intentions. Actually, Ranga overcomes his hesitation and marries Ratna. Their marriage becomes significant because it represents love, acceptance, and the breaking of social barriers such as widow remarriage. The line, "Love wins over hesitation," captures the happy and meaningful ending of the story. The final question for you, students: was the narrator right in manipulating Ranga? The major themes are marriage and compatibility, tradition versus modernity, education and change, love and companionship, social reform. The important message conveyed here is education should not only give degrees but also improve thinking. What is true education according to this chapter? Think and then comment below. Let's analyze Ranga. Ranga is educated, independent, respectful, romantic, slightly naive. He represents modern youth influenced by English education. However, despite his modern views, emotions still affect him. Do you think Ranga is truly modern? The narrator is one of the most interesting characters. His traits are He is clever, humorous, socially aware, and he is slightly manipulative. He acts as the catalyst of the marriage. Without him, there would be no story. Ratna represents ideal companionship. She is beautiful, talented, intelligent, innocent. Her singing creates emotional bonding. She also symbolizes change because her remarriage breaks social barriers. This chapter uses several literary devices like humor, irony, satire, and social commentary. The story indirectly criticizes child marriage, rigid customs, blind social practices. Its conversational style makes it engaging and relatable. Why is humor an effective tool for social criticism? What do we learn from this chapter? Marriage should be based on understanding. Education should encourage progressive thinking. Society can change with time. Love and companionship matters. Important symbols in the chapter. First, English education, progress and modernity. Astrology trick represents social beliefs and manipulations. Ratna's singing symbolize emotional connection and attractions. Here is a beautiful takeaway. True education is not merely learning new things, but learning to think differently. To conclude, Ranga's marriage is much more than a love story. It is a story about changing mindset, challenging traditions, and choosing wisely. That's why this chapter remains relevant even today. If you found this explanation helpful, like, share, subscribe to CBSE English Boost by Suchandra Dey. Would you choose tradition or personal choice in marriage? Comment below. See you in the next video. Until then, next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep boosting your English with Suchandra Dey.